good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Green Gold Farms YouTube page, where we talk about farming, share our mistakes and our lessons and try and be as educative as possible. Hope you've had a blessed day. In today's video, I'm going to be speaking about the 3 different methods of farming, especially livestock, with sheep, cattle and goats. I'm going to speak about the free-range system, I'm going to speak about the semi-intensive system, and I'm going to speak about the intensive system. I'm going to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages and what might suit you better, in your surroundings and environment to get the best out of your animals or out of your farm. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy the video. Any questions, any suggestions, drop it in the comment section and I'll be more than happy to respond. Yes, like I said, I'm going to be talking about the 3 different methods and types of livestock farming, especially with sheep, goats and cattle. The first one I'm going to be speaking about is the free-range system. The free-range system is typically where you get up in the morning, you open up the doors or the gates for your sheep or goats or cattle and let them roam freely, eating whatever they want to eat, grazing, going all about the place. And maybe when they come home, you might supplement them. Some people do, some people don't. So they basically go out, eat all day, come back at home in the evening time. They got the free range, they got the free movements, hence it's called free range system. The benefits of that is, one, the animals basically got endless supply of food that they're going to be eating. Wherever it's grazing, they can just go and graze and graze and graze for the whole day and they can come back, so they might put on weight quicker, they might get a lot bigger or grow a bit more faster than your average sheep, goat or cattle. But there's a lot of disadvantages when it comes to the free range system, and number one is your animal going to destroy people's crops, people's farms. It causes a lot of problems. So it's something that I advise against not to perform, especially if you're trying to do it on a large scale. If you've got maybe 1 or 2 or 3 animals or 5 or less animals, fair enough if that's what you want to do. But if you're trying to do it on a larger scale, you can't practice that sort of farming, because it's going to bring a lot of problems. You get a lot of accidents, the animals crossing the road unsupervised, getting knocked over by a car, eating poison or being poisoned by people, theft, a lot of the animals being stolen. So yes, that's some of the disadvantages. And like I said, the advantage, I can only think of one, which is the animal eating endless amount of food, throughout the day, and they go home whenever they feel like it. But the disadvantages, there's many. You can't go and invest in an animal and then let the animal out for free, just roaming about. It can get stolen, it can get knocked over by a car, it can go and get poisoned, it can go and destroy someone's farm or crops, which will then bring more problems for you in the long term. So that's something that I totally advise against. But like I said, you might be living in an area where it's abundant grassland or forestry, where there's no farms and it's basically just you and vast amount of lands. You might be able to do that, or if you've got a huge amount of land for yourself. I'm talking about hectares, where a lot of farmers in New Zealand and Australia and the US tend to practice, where someone might have over 200 hectares and the animals are just free roaming and grazing, and maybe they get supplemented once or a couple of times during the week. But that's one of them. The second one that I'm going to speak about is semi-intensive. So basically, semi-intensive is you got the animals in an enclosed structure where you might feed them in the morning or you might feed them in the evening, and then you take them to graze for a certain period amount of time. So you might take them to graze 3 hours in the morning, and you might take them to graze 3 hours in the evening, and you might supplement them in the afternoon or in the evening. That's semi-intensive. One of the advantages of semi-intensive farming is controlled. You know, when the animals are going out to graze, they're being supervised. You know, so they're being controlled. They're not destroying anyone's crops. They're not crossing the road unsupervised. They're not being stolen, even though it can happen, but it's a minimal chance of that happening. Yeah, they're being supervised, so basically they're being cared for properly, you know. Again, you feed it, and after grazing, you supplementing them at home as well, you know. So basically, semi-intensive is the best of both free-ranging and the intensive system, you know. So you're taking a piece of intensive system and you taking a piece of the free-ranging system, and then you joining it together to give it a semi-intensive, you know. So a bit of both, which personally is what I'm practicing here, you know. As you can see, that's their structure, enclosed. We let them out to graze 2 to 3 hours in the morning or late afternoon, and then we let them out to graze 2 to 3 hours in the evening. And in between those times in the morning, we supplement them with feed, and in the evening we supplement them with feed, you know. And I have practiced intensive and free ranging, and me personally, the semi-intensive is the best system that works better for me, you know. Depending on the area that you are, something different might suit your animals better, you know. So it's best to just experiment and see what works out for you before jumping the gun and just diving in head first without not knowing how deep it is. So yes, the advantages of semi-intensive, like I said, the animals will be monitored. They're not destroying no one's crops, they're not being stolen, they're not being knocked over by cars, you know. They're not causing chaos running around, you know, like headless chickens, you know. And plus they're being cared for properly, you know. They're being monitored, they're being fed properly. One of the disadvantages, again, compared to the free range system, is obviously they're only grazing 3 hours a day and coming home. They're not grazing throughout the day, but it's minimal, you know. That's that. And then it comes to the intensive system. The intensive system is basically where they are kept in an enclosed space, something similar to this, you know, but they're not being let out to graze. So basically everything is brought to them, you know. The feed is brought to them, the water, everything, you know. They might have a little exercise yard like this outside, but everything is brought to them, you know. And one thing with intensive system is you have to make sure that your food and your management is spot on, because you got to remember that you bring in everything that the animal needs to them. So you need to know what they need before you can practice that intensive system, you know. And the intensive system is basically, it suits someone that's you got a small space but you got a lot of animals, you know. You might be living in a residential area where there's not a lot of greenery outside, so you might have to go a bit further out to cut the grass and bring it to the animals, or the feed, or whatever you're feeding them. That's what it suits better. Someone in a residential area or someone with a small amount of space, it suits better to do the intensive. But like I said, you have to make sure that everything the animal needs, you bring it to them, you know. The supplement, the soil lick, the medication, you know, because sometimes when these animals go out to graze, some of the grasses and the feeds they eat is medicinal to them, and they know it. So if you're not letting them out to graze and you're bringing it to them, you have to make sure that you know what they need and what they don't need. Some of the disadvantages, disadvantages with the intensive system is, one, it's a lot of work, because obviously the animals are constantly in an enclosed area, so you have to make sure that it's clean, you know. So you might have to clean it 2 times a day to make sure to prevent diseases, to prevent bacteria from brewing in that area and affecting your animals. That's one of the disadvantages. But again, some of the advantages is very similar to the intensive system. It's being monitored, it's being supervised, and they're being cared for properly, you know. So what are the people that these 3 types of system will suit better? You know, like I said, the intensive system will suit better someone that lives in a residential area, someone that don't have a lot of greenery around them, which meaning that if you were to take your animals out, you have to go a lot further out to get feed for them. So instead of that, you can keep them enclosed, and then you can drive out to go further and bring them the feed. The intensive system can suit both someone that lives out in the sticks or someone that lives in a bit not too heavily developed area where you can again afford to let them out and keep them in. The free range system, again, if you live out, you know, in a countryside where there's not a lot of farms and it's a lot of green, a lot of bush, and you're not gonna disturb anybody, or your animals are not gonna go and destroy anyone's crops, or they're not gonna be running around crossing the roads and causing chaos and stuff like that, then yes, you can practice the free range system. If not, I won't advise anyone to follow the free range system route, because like I said, if you're not in the right area, it can cause a lot of problems. It will give you more problems than rewards, to put it that way, you know. So me, the best way to do it is either go for the intensive system if you know every feed or every need of the animal to the last drop. Go for the intensive system. If not, practice the semi-intensive system where you can let them out to graze for a bit and then you can supplement them with feed at the end of it, you know. So yeah, that's basically what I've spoken about. I can't fit everything in this video, so I've tried to be as brief as possible. There might be something I've missed out, there might be something I said wrong that you might know. Just drop it in the comment section. Like I said, we're all learning, so you might say something and I'll learn from you, just the way you watch my video and you learn a thing or two. So hope you have a wonderful day watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch, there's going to be more videos coming through. Anything that you want me to do a video on particularly, just drop it in the comment section or drop me an email, and I'll be more than happy to reply and respond and give you the best answer as possible. So yes, from all of us in the office, have a wonderful day, and we will see you again soon.